Insurasales booth here at 8% Nation, and I'm with Amanda Brewton, and we are talking shop, of all things.
Yes.
Amanda, you've been in this business forever. You told me I've been in the business forever, so we're the forever twins.
Yes, we are.
Let's talk about what you see today, and we were just talking a little bit about the industry as a whole. Like, what do you see as the opportunities in our business today, maybe that we didn't have 5 years ago, 10 years ago? What do you see as
I think technology is playing a really big part in the ability for agents to get in front of more, in my world, it's seniors specifically. So I specialize in the Medicare market. Been in that business for 17 years, and just went out 2 years ago with my own FMO. What I'm seeing is with the technology, with CRM tools and with automation and with being able to run quotes and applications and send them via text to people, I think that gives agents the ability to take that appointment time from where it used to be 2 hours per senior, down to where they can confidently and compliantly take that appointment and almost cut it in more than half. So now the average appointment should be about 45 minutes, which allows them to see more people, which then of course increases sales growth. So I truly think that is one of the biggest things that we have now that we didn't have 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
More people are doing electronic sales or electronic submissions online versus the old paper fax, did you get my fax stuff.
Do you think COVID changed some of that too?
Yes.
With carriers?
Yeah, because now people became dependent on doing electronic and phone sales instead of going ahead and meeting in person. And then with the technology developing to where you can do it, even if they don't have an email, you can do it through a cell phone. It's not as daunting and it's not as scary. And then you add on to it that specifically the seniors are more tech savvy. So that makes it easier for everybody to be able to do it.
You know, before we jumped on camera, we were talking about, our backgrounds and our histories, and, I hate to say it, but the gray hair and the wrinkles kind of give it away.
I've got the gray, it's hiding.
But it's 26 years I've been doing this now at a lot of different levels, and from a carrier standpoint, what do you, in your world today, like you said, starting up your FMO a couple of years ago and really having great success doing that, what is it that you want out of carriers, or what do you think carriers ought to be doing today that they're not doing, maybe to either promote growth in the space, make it better for agents? Help me understand, as you see it through somebody that's sold in the field, that's recruited in the field, and then that's building their own business for those people in the field. What is it that you'd like to see?
I think that the carriers have started, and they're going to continue to listen to feedback from the field about product development. Specifically, all of the extra benefits that are now allowed with the social determinants of health, or SDOH. Those bright and shiny objects like groceries and utilities and rent and things like that. I think that they're getting more and more attentive with listening to what the need of the senior as well as the agent is. And then they're also listening closely with the types of marketing products and tools that the seniors need. And I think that that's going to continue over the next few. Add on top of that you've got more technology tools that they continually update to make them easier for agents to, the average insurance agent, the average age of somebody selling Medicare is 57 years old. So to have technology that somebody that isn't too tech savvy, make it not daunting and say, see, this isn't so bad. It mirrors exactly what you're looking at on paper. Let me teach you another way. Having worked with Anthem and rolled out their electronic enrolling tools before I left, it was one of the fastest adopted processes that they had, and it continues to get easier and easier. And you see the other carriers continuing that as well. So I think that they're going to continue to listen to that. They're going to continue to develop products that we need, and continue to show that they are a trusted partner with the agent, with developing the agent's business, not as treating the agent as, well, we don't need you, move forward, we've got internal people. I think it's going to come more our way.
You know, I tend to agree. I never lost sight of one thing, that I'm proud to be an agent. And I'm proud that even in shows like this one, where we're sort of recognizing the NG, right? The new guard versus the old guard. The reality of it is that we're still helping families. We're still having to be professional. You still need to know your business.
Yes.
And you've got to care more about the needs of the person and the families in front of you than you do your own. Would you agree with that?
Money comes along the way. So I am a big proponent of do the right thing, do a good assessment of what the client's needs are. Don't just push products and ram them down somebody's throat to the highest bidder. Have it where you're truly doing a consultative sell and you win. The money comes along the way, the referrals come along the way, and at the end of the day, those referrals are the best type of marketing that you can get, right? One of the things that, as you asked about carriers, one of the biggest things that I have been blessed with is I do a lot of education in the marketplace specific to Medicare. I do continuing education, and I headline and host 2 conferences. One of them being Ms. Medicare, which is held on the...
Which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a little plug for Ms. Medicare. It's really awesome.
It's a take on Miss Congeniality. The girls wanted a beauty pageant theme because, let's face it, insurance is boring as hell. So why not have a little bit of fun with it and feel like a girl? And it's not about bashing men. It's about empowering women to not feel by themselves with growing their business and developing it, because it is a male-dominated field, and it's about self-esteem, it's about networking. So the conference doesn't just focus on the business acumen and the growth with the carriers, but it's the carriers that donate the money and sponsor for me to be able to provide an event that costs well over $100,000 so that the agent doesn't spend a dime other than traveling to enjoy it and have the camaraderie. So we are going into our 3rd year. The next one will be on July 10th and 11th in Cleveland, Ohio. The registration is already out at msmedicare.org. Sandra is one of the speakers. I've got Jill Henderson from Niche Loss Fleming as a speaker. Nice. I have many established women that are, it's invitation to go ahead and talk on a given topic. And the first day is always, you can come in your formal gowns and crowns if you want, or business attire, and it is a must, which some people think I'm crazy about that, but you have to dress the part. So teaching the girls not just what's the difference between A and B, but okay, you have to look at all these things. Business etiquette is one of them. But we have a lot of fun. We did a pajama party before the event last year, and that was a blast and a half. I'm going to do that again this year. And then this year we did an 80s party in between the 2 events. Next year we're going to do a Great Gatsby 1920s theme. So there's only 350 seats available. It's been open, the registration's been open for 2 weeks, and I have almost 275 registered from 32 states already. So it will sell out, which is awesome. But it's a good time. So it is the single most biggest thing that I am proud of in my career, is to be able to give back in this way to the industry and to change their lives and help them build their families. And there's nothing better than that. The money will come along the way. So
you're saying that, and let me just I'm going to give a plug to Amanda too, because we've been fortunate enough over my career to recruit and train thousands, literally thousands of agents. And I will tell you conclusively, and I know I'm going to probably upset a few people in saying this, but it's me.
It's okay, I do all the time.
Yeah, it's like I don't really care anymore. If you're a woman today and you're in the financial services business, you're in the Medicare business, you're in the final expense business, life insurance, I don't care what it is. This business for a woman is fantastic.
It is.
And as a former CMO of a lot of different insurance groups on both the life and the health side, I would take a female agent 9 out of 10 times in America today. I think they're more conscientious. I think they're more connected. They're the caregivers of the world.
Yep.
They're the mothers of the world. There's Medicare and all insurances. It's not so much the 5 inches between your two ears. It's the 5 inches around the heart, the circumference.
Yeah.
And women do that better than men. And that's not a knock. There's wonderful men out there that
Right.
care. But when it comes to understanding, it's
Yes.
a niche. And I believe if you are a woman in the insurance business, and this is a plug for you, they should call you.
Please.
And they should talk to you about what makes your world different. Because like you said, sometimes in a male-dominated industry,
You just need somebody to help you get out of it. I mean, I started, and I can remember when I was working for a carrier and I went down to cut an FMO deal, and it was me and 3 men, and they looked at me and said, "Will you let the men speak? You can wait out here." And I went, "Excuse me?" I'm all over social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. I have a Facebook group that is dedicated to Miss Medicare. Now, since I don't just do the Ms. Medicare one, I had to do a conference that the boys were allowed to be in, and I'm just rolling that one out. It's actually going to be a vacation destination conference, and that one is going to be called Medicare Margaritas. It'll be in the Orange Beach, Gulf Shores area in March, and we're going to do 2-hour deep dives on various topics from 9 to noon on a couple of the days, so that gives everybody the time to go to the beach, hit the pool, play with your family, do some social things, and have a good time. Because the whole purpose of a conference shouldn't just be to learn, it should be to network with other people as well, and I'm real good at making that happen, forcing it if I need to. But those are my 2 conferences each year, and then that way I'm able to attract everybody to do it and to have some fun and to learn, and we've got some cool things to come up for next year.
You know, I don't know how many people will be watching this, but I can tell you there's a lot of people that think about getting in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Some people are like, I've heard about it, it's pretty good. I think I could be good in Medicare. I just need somebody to help me, somebody to educate me, somebody to support me. And what better than to have a group of smart, educated, excellent history of production, which is really important. Like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're not just telling you to do it.
Yep.
We're actually doing it, and we're surrounding ourselves with those carriers and those individuals that share our same values. And so what you have is a committed and dedicated group, and that's really what you're doing. And I think that's awesome. I truly do.
Thank you.
I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. I just would love for you to continue to really expand that into life insurance, and let's make it Miss Life too, right? With Miss Medicare and all that, right?
I started in the Medicare field because that's where my background is. Aetna and Anthem, Medicare space, only Medicare space, didn't venture out into it. And then when I went out on my own, I grew so fast. I don't recruit. So the agents that I have that are working with me are people that just call and say, you know what, I like what you're about. I like the team environment that you have. I like how candid you are.
Yeah.
Some people I scare the hell out of because I'm this direct. Other people are like, bring it. Just cut the bullshit, bring it. And I'm like, if your product sucks, I tell the carrier. I'm not afraid of it, and they know. The best part of that is the best compliment is when I have the carrier reps quoting me back to me to other people in their business. But with that, it's one where if I can't support the product and the customer service level that I have to a high level, I won't roll it out. So I have a 3-year plan as to adding additional products and everything else, but as with everything, if you're smart, you're deliberate with what you do and not jumping in and half-assing it.
Yep.
So for me, I've got the Medicare locked down, I've got my infrastructure locked down, I started picking up life insurance last year. I don't advertise it, but I will support the agents of mine that have it.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly, incrementally picking up the product so that way I can have the same service level, and I do more coaching than I do service issues as an FMO. It's what do you want to be when you grow up? How do I help get you to the next level? In order to do that, there's a lot of research that has to go into there. Yes.
Yeah. Or how do you get started?
Yeah.
And how do you succeed, most importantly?
Right. And I am definitely direct with that, in that this is not something that you get rich overnight and put 20 hours in and you're going to go ahead and make 6 figures doing. No, I want you to write good business. I want the business to stick. I want high referrals on it. And the money that you do spend should have a high ROI or return on investment on it, so that it's a smart spend of money. I don't want you dependent on leads. I want you to fish on your own to make that happen. So that's for the most part how I do it.
Yeah, well, you're committed, you're putting, I always talk about the most successful people in our business are selfless.
Yeah.
They're not selfish.
Yeah.
There's a lot of selfishness in this industry and a lot of industries, and frankly the world, if we get,
and for me, if I see it, I change it, which is how Ms. Medicare came back, and it's more of a donation, if you will, of time and energy and stuff that comes along with that. It's, if you do right, the rest comes along the way.
Yeah, it's interesting. In all the years that I've done this, people have come to me and said, Steve, why do we even have IMOs and FMOs and all these people, right? Mm-hmm. Couldn't we have carriers just have figured out how to do all this, right? Or they'll say, well, these guys don't really do anything to help me. They just give me a product, and they say, here, go sell it, right? And you're talking about, look, I'm coaching, I'm supporting, my cell phone's ringing nonstop, because people need help and they need support. They just don't need a contract and say, go in the industry and I hope you do well. And that happens a lot in our business, wouldn't you say?
It's a double-edged sword. So you have FMOs that are very good at what they do, and they offer a lot of things to the agent, and the agent doesn't want to do the work and they want it to be handed to them.
Right.
And then you have it the other way, where you have not so good FMOs that write a contract, they offer a few webinars, and they don't do any outreach and any help. The trick that I tell and I encourage anybody to is one, this is your business. It's not anybody else's. It is your business. So treat it as such. You pick your business partners, you pick the coaching that you want, and then find the plans that fit into what you like. If you like somebody that's hands-off and has the tools, but that's where they're at, more power to you, salute. If you need somebody that has the coaching and the foresight to be able to get you to the next level, or that has the hand-holding on social media or whatever else, then there are entities out there that will help you do that. But you as the business owner have to use, one, you have to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, what you need, which most agents have a hard time doing a self-assessment as to what their needs analysis is. And once they figure out what they need and where their strengths and their weaknesses are, then they can find business partners, whether that's an FMO, a business coach, or whatever, that can actually help them get to the next level. It's the ones that don't do those basic steps that I try to guide them and point them to say, okay, you need to figure this out before you start going down this path. Then this becomes easier. I don't think that it's all the FMO's fault or the agent's fault. It's you got into a business relationship, your business needs may have changed. If they did, use your words and go talk to your FMO or your upline and tell them this is what I need, and see if they can help you. If they can't, go find somebody that can.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the other arguments that I think I personally make, being on the carrier side for so long in my career, is I don't think the carriers have historically done enough other than provide products a lot of times and do some webinars and a few lunch and learns and those type things. I've always felt like they should take a more active role in helping and in supporting more of
I disagree with that.
Do you?
On the Medicare side, I get all the help that I need. I directly speak with senior executive management of 5 different companies regularly, at least once a quarter. They are constantly asking me, what do they need? What do I see in the marketplace? What do my agents need? How do they get better? They're willing to have the hard conversation, because I'm the one that will tell them, look, you suck at this. Get better. your customer service problems, here's 5 examples of those. And then they'll go do something about that. I have some carriers that hear it and turn a blind eye, but that's the exception, not the rule. I don't see that from a Medicare side. I may be the exception to that though, because I've been in the business for a really long time. I'm heavily involved in National Association for Health Underwriters, which is our professional organization. I'm not afraid to use my voice, and I'm not afraid to make a point by packing a room with 100, 200, 500 people and have the carrier execs in that room ask the hard questions and have them look at the room and see all the hands go up and go, I just made my point. And then they go back and they do it. So,
what's your feeling on a lot of the new entrants into the MA world? A lot of private equity-backed Medicare Advantage carriers coming into the market in just a couple of different states. Some of them, maybe the networks are struggling a little bit, maybe some of the customer service and operational issues they're starting to face. How is that impacting you, and do you think that these larger number of entrants into the MA space is good for the business?
Yes and no. I think that the additional entries give more variety to what's available. I also think that it gives the larger carriers some competition to go ahead and make sure that their benefits fall in line with the smaller carriers to a certain degree, because a smaller carrier has the ability to be more innovative, which then if it becomes a bright and shiny object that seniors gravitate to, then they start to consider it for their product development maybe the following year or the year after that. From a stability point, you've got 7-8 more years of this quote-unquote gold rush in the senior market. So I think that for right now, everything's all going to continue to bloom, and you've got some heavy growth going. At the same time, you have a lot of them also selling to the larger carriers. So it's going to be this weird ebb and flow thing that happens for at least the next 5 years.
They come in, they get big enough, and then
they sell and they get back out. Yes.
And they sell out, they cash out, and then they go do something else,
Yes.
maybe come back as something else.
Yes.
And then we kind of, and meanwhile, and I think that's some of the, I'm not saying a complaint, but some of the things I've heard over the years from agents in the space is the reason we work with the national carriers in the Medicare space is because they're in for the long haul.
Right.
They have stability.
Yeah.
And while the other ones may have a really unique product and it may have some really great appeal, I'm not certain that it'll be there 2 years, or it might be morphed into something else. So, and I hear that a lot, yet part of me is always thinking that the brand new MA is, the little guy's got something that makes a lot of sense, right?
Most agents go ahead, and the first year that it's in a market, most agents don't sell it. So it comes in, they're going to sit and watch. You'll have other agents that'll go ahead and that will test them in. First year, all the other agents, more experienced agents, will sit back and watch and see, and then they're going to wait and hear. What kind of experience are they hearing? Is the broker happy with the experience? Is the member happy with the experience? What's going on here? Are the customer service and broker reps worth their salt? Yeah. If they are, then okay, then we may be able to do business. Year 2, they start picking up some additional traction. It's okay, I think I'm willing to give this a shot now because all of the hiccups have been worked out. It's in year 3 that they really start to take off. The biggest one right now that I'm seeing a lot of growth in is Devoted Health. As a newer player that's national, that's entering a ridiculous amount of markets, that is pretty much everywhere in the state of Ohio. They're in their 3rd year, and they're known for their member services and the way that they work with their members. That's what their niche is. That's what they market to. The other carriers in my state, Ohio, Anthem and United, they have the market share. And they will continue to have the market share. Aetna and Humana are clamoring. They've got some really good, I've seen early looks for all 3, Anthem, Aetna, and Humana. I've seen all of their early looks. All of it looks good for 2023. If the agent is not going and doing their early looks with the broker reps, they need to. I've had several people go, but I don't understand. It's not approved. Why would you go to an early look? It's all about planning. It's all about trying to find and set up your marketing so that you understand what the nature of your marketplace is doing. And if you've got a lot of activity in there, and you've got new benefits and new products and everything coming out, you have to be able to plan and market accordingly so that you're effective in what you do. And that's what the early looks do. Then in September, you go into the actual formal CMS approved rollouts. So there's some good things that I'm seeing, a lot of good ones.
Interesting. You, when I listen to you sort of as a carrier, background, I smile because you do it right. I can tell that. Mm-hmm. And I have been around so many people in my career, and you know who you are, that maybe don't do it right. Mm-hmm. And they take shortcuts. And I've always said that you have to have,
worth it.
You have to have this balance, right? So it's you have your agent on that contract, right? So you have the customer that's buying it, right? Mm-hmm. And you have you as the agent that's selling on behalf of that company, but the contract ultimately is with the insurance carrier, and the carrier's taking all the risk. And I always felt like as an agent, you owe it to the carrier to make sure you're their representative, you're their eyes and ears. Do everything you can to always do it right. And it sounds to me like that's exactly what you're all about.
Always.
Is to do it always right, which is why if I were a carrier and you talked about, hey, I've got great relationships with them, I would want to have a great relationship with you, period. Not just because I love Miss Medicare.
I'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, yes.
But, honestly, I don't know who's watching, but isn't that if you're a carrier, that's exactly what you want. That's what I would want.
And the thing is one of the things that my mom taught me a long time ago is, don't just complain, give them a solution. So as I rose through my career with Aetna and then with Anthem, it was one where I'd be in my leadership meetings or I would be teaching at the national sales conferences and I'd be like, okay, we have this problem. Now here's 3 suggestions that I have on how to solve the problem. Pick one, I don't care. I will call a spade and say, here's where we're at. I am all Team Blue or I'm all Team Aetna or whichever the carrier is that I'm working with. And I want us all to succeed, but in order to hit that number, and I used to tell David Nichols this all the time, I answer to a number. You're giving me a sales goal. You want me to do 15,000 applications during AEP for a 1/1 effective for the state of Ohio? I'll get you to that number, but here's what I need for that. And he'd go, okay. And you never knew that he was actually paying attention because he'd be kind of like, his eye contact wasn't there. Brilliant man. And then a couple of days later, after the meeting, I got a phone call from Laura Beth, and she'd go, okay, so you got this, you got that, we're gonna wait on this, and here's why. And she'd always give me the why as to why something couldn't happen, so that when I went to do my ask the next time, I had it. Well, what ended up happening is that they believed in me, and as they continued to believe in me, magic, and give me what I needed, I held to the sales goals. So if I'm hitting your sales goals and exceeding them, and I'm very careful with what I'm asking for and the money that I'm spending, then that trust factor became, and it was something that I became known for. And I'm not just a complainer. I'll call out when they do it really, really well, and I'll call out when they miss it entirely.
In my world, you know what they call somebody like you, Amanda? We call those people gold.
Thank you.
Gold. And there's a few people with Insurasales that know I've already called them gold, and they go, I have no idea what that means. That means if I'm going to go into battle, I have certain people that I want to my right into my left, and I call those people gold because I know when it gets tough, they're not going to run.
Nope.
When I know time gets tough, they're not going to be a yes person. They're going to say, this is what we need to do and why. And they're not going to say, hey, Steve, you suck.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, I suck, but how are you going to make me no longer suck and make me better, right? And my dad told me, he was a retired Marine Corps officer still around at 92. My dad said, Steve, look, always surround yourself with people who make you
better. Yes.
And that's what you are doing with Miss Medicare. That's what you are doing with doing your FMO. That's what you've done your whole career.
There's no need for the ego and the backbiting and the backstabbing and the negativity and all of that. There's absolutely no need for it. And it's one of the most unattractive things that I find in our industry.
Yep.
But it's also human nature. And to me, it was one that it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to show them another way. I'm going to show you how to do it without any of that stuff. And I'm still going to succeed, and I'm still going to break records, and I'm still going to do all of these things. And I want you to hold my beer as I do it.
Right.
And I'm going to do it with a smile on my face. It may be hard as I do it, but as with anything, you're going to have the hurdles as you have the growth. But I truly enjoy what I do, and it's a lot of fun.
It shows. You mentioned the backbite. All that kind of stuff in our business, I think, is driven by ego.
Yep. And there's no need for it.
More than anything else. And it's something I was also taught a long time ago, is that no matter how much money you have or how big your title is, somebody else has more money, somebody else has created a bigger title. So it comes down to, it's the person the lives that you're touching, whether it's in the house, whether it's over the phone, whether it's in your own home, whether it's wherever. You're trying to help other people get better. That's the whole point of what our business is, and that's what you're doing, and that's why it's so inspirational. I got to ask you one question before we go. We talked quite a bit about MA, but what's your feeling about really the thing that started the whole Medicare business, or at least the gap filling part of Medicare for a lot of years now, since the early 90s, has been Medicare Supplement. Help me understand your views on Medicare Supplement and what you think, where do you see the future of Medicare Supplement?
So Medicare Supplement continues to grow, but it's being outpaced almost 2-to-1 by Med Advantage plans. Med Subs have a niche, because especially for people that just want to pay a bill and then not have to worry about anything else other than, the Part B deductible and their drug card. At the same time, and it serves a purpose for a specific client. The issues that we're having with network, with the MAs 10, 20 years ago, are no longer an issue, not nearly as bad as what they were. There are some areas that have holes, but for the most part, they've gotten exponentially better. It's basically a premise of pay me now or pay me later. With a Med Sup, you're paying the premium up front, it's a sunk cost, and it's done. I think that agents gravitate to it because it's easy. I think that it's easy for seniors to understand, and I also think that it's one where there's no certification. There's no real restrictions as to marketing and everything else, so agents like to play in that space because they don't have to worry about having any issue being done. What my problem with Med Sup business is there's no training on it. There's no real formal training that you get. So time and time again, I'm seeing agents who buy the cheapest Med Sup out on the market, put the client into the cheapest thing that's out there, not realizing that that's not how you sell Med Sup. Med Sup should be sold on how often are they doing a rate action? What percentage is that rate action? Because if they're the lowest thing out on the market, but they're taking 3 rate actions in a year, and every one of those are between 15 to 30%. And now to change their subject to medical underwriting, you just put that client in a jackpot that you can't even fathom. And until the industry has some training for them to be able to learn how to effectively choose Med Sups and how to do that correctly, they have a place, and I'm very pro Med Sup, so don't get me wrong. But you have to be able to learn how to sell it so that your client has a stationary premium to it, where they're not at $100 a month and 2 years later they're at $400 a month and can't pay for anything. Yeah. And I think that that's a very real issue in that world and in that space.
When I started in this business, in the senior market, Med Sup was that's what we did. That's what we do. And so you never lose sight of that. And I've heard so many people just to tell me over the years, it's like, it's gone, it's over. and I'm from the world that says it's never over.
No.
I mean, it's still out there, and there's a place for everything, right? There's where everything kind of fits, but part of that, in order to figure out exactly where it fits, is you have to have somebody that's actually
That's the job of the agent.
That's right. That's the job of the agent.
The true job of the agent, and what you make your commission on, is doing the fact finding to figure out what is the best fit for that client.
Yeah.
Doing the true needs assessment to figure out which one makes the most sense. So,
well, let me tell you something. What I think makes the most sense is that everybody should figure out how to get. If you're, especially if you're a woman, and if you're a guy, I think you should try to figure out how to I
don't work with just women, so bring them all to me. Come on.
Make a special exception in there and say,
call
please
me.
let me
It's great. Yes.
call Amanda Brewton.
Yes.
She's the Miss Guru, Miss Medicare, and I must tell you,
Miss Medicare. I've got, follow me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. I've got about 8,000 people following me. I've got.
Awesome. Let's link in.
my
I got
Facebook
to link
open.
in with you too.
Definitely.
We'll do that after the meeting because I'm out there just on LinkedIn. I tend to write a lot on LinkedIn and try to inspire folks with some ideas, not just in this business.
You'll
but
see all
outside.
my crazy different sides. I have a lot of fun with it. So
I'm going to do it.
You don't just see the work side of me. You see all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I don't want to be one of those people that just shows you the easy side of things and what all the good is. I want you to see the struggle. I want you to see how I work my way out of it to help you get through it.
So, you know what that's called? When I said people like you are gold, now what you are is real.
Yes.
And you know, after a while, I just want to be around somebody that's real.
Yes.
I mean, how many people are fake in this world? Please give me something that's real. Yeah. Guys, do me a favor, okay? Insurasales. We're here. It's 8% Nation, but that's Amanda Brewton, and that's Miss Medicare. Please look her up. Give her a call today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.